The movie begins by killing itself immediately, changing the original story, saying the king and queen named their child Snow White because it was snowing that day, when in the original she's Snow White because her skin is white as snow. So if you're gonna name your child based on the weather, does that mean if it was dark and raining, you would have named her Rain Black? You stupid! So they raised Snow White to be kind and good, which is pretty easy to do when you have nothing to complain about and you're born super rich, but I'll be objective. The first song in this film is catchy and pretty good, and it actually got my hopes up before I was immensely disappointed. So the mom gets COVID and she dies. Then Gal Gadot pulls up and the king's like, salutations, fine shit. And just from the shot alone, it confuses me. How are you jealous of Snow White when you have nothing to worry about looking like that? Anyhow, she becomes the new queen, and what's funny is when the film says she's evil, they just start showing her wearing black. So what are you trying to say, Disney, that wearing black means you're evil? Then the queen asks the magic mirror who's the fairest of them all, and the mirror says, you. And later, the queen sends the king to his ops, and bro never returns. So the queen rules the land, taking the riches of the kingdom for herself. As she should, slay. Then she cuts Snow White's hair and forces her to work as a maid. Then Snow White grows up and her love interest is not a prince, but a hobo stealing potatoes. Really, Disney? Instead of a prince, her love interest is a homeless dude stealing food because he broke his hell? Really? So she's all like, you can't do that, put it back. Girl, you look like Dora. Bye. Then Snow pulls up to the queen, and what's funny is we see a massive table full of food, but if you look at the queen, she looked like she skips breakfast and lunch and eats water for dinner. Like, who are you fooling? Your calorie intake is less than 500, you ain't eating all that. And also, how are you called the evil queen and you let Snow White talk back to you and disrespect you? Like, she literally says,
I feel they need some kindness.
which is a passive-aggressive way of saying, you're not kind, you're mean. And when you reach out, she's like, ugh, looking disgusted with you. And to top it off, she gives you a death stare. Now, first of all, in the original, Snow White never tried to square up with the queen at any point or at any passive-aggressive sassiness to her. Secondly, you're known as the evil queen. So if you're evil, do some evil shit. Like if Snow White talks back, cut her tongue out. If she death stares at you, then stab her eyes. Like, just be evil. Like, I know some Asian parents that would smack their kid just for talking back, but when Snow White be all sassy, disrespecting you, you just sit there and take it like a good boy. And when the hobo is caught stealing potatoes, which is easily a crime punishable by death, the queen says put him in the dungeon, but Snow White's like, no.
My father would show mercy.
So in 5 minutes of screen time, Snow White called the queen mean, unkind, doesn't show mercy, and is a shitty ruler to her face, and the queen just takes it. And when Hobo is taken away and the queen leaves Snow White unharmed, she looks at her like this. Yo, I don't care what y'all say, this is not Snow White, this is Dora on puberty. Now, I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, but she does this thing with her jaw, and she look very creepy, and does it multiple times throughout the film. Like, the vibes I get from this Snow White is spoiled little brat vibes that get so sassy and passive-aggressive when she doesn't have it her way, which is completely opposite to the original. But objectively, the songs in this film are pretty good, and when she sees Potato Man tied up, she frees him and gives him food that she stole. Subway, eat fresh. And when their hands touch, she's like, what are you, Japanese now? Strawberry flavor yorimo anata. So Snow White goes against the queen and her orders, which again is punishable by death. But the queen doesn't do anything to Snow White till the magic mirror says Snow White is the fairest of them all. Meaning, if the mirror said the queen's still the fairest, Snow White would just be chilling despite disrespecting the queen and going against her. Who's the fairest? It ain't you, girl. It's Dora. No! Now, I'ma be honest, Gal Gadot's acting is kind of funny in the film. She goes, kill Snow White, but...
Are you against me too? Are you?
Are you? Are you? She sounds like Scooby-Doo, bruh. Then she orders the huntsman to put Snow White's heart in the box, so the huntsman confronts her when she's out touching grass. Why?
Why?
What do you mean, why? Even the queen in Alice in Wonderland would say off with her head for talking back. I don't know, maybe because you went against the queen and did whatever you wanted? But the huntsman can't do it, so she does the jaw thing again. So he tells her to run far into the woods because the queen wants her dead. Now, in the original, she imagines scary things in the woods like branches turning into crocodiles because she's scared, and that's okay. And it's once she sees the animals who are harmless that the forest looks normal. However, in the live action, it's not her imagination, but is now a magical forest because they want to make sure Snow White is fearless and brave and does not want to show her as a scared girl who thought the forest was scary because of her imagination. So this scene just felt weird that it suddenly went from dark to bright with no explanation when in the original it's clearly because of her imagination. Then the animals lead her to a stranger's house. Yeah, she definitely not white as snow, she brown. And when she enters, in the original she cleans the place and cooks them a meal in hopes they can let her stay, but in the live action she's like, hello? I know people live here. Then she sees a bed and just sleeps on it. And isn't breaking into someone's home and sleeping on their bed, I don't know, a crime? Then we meet the 7 CGI hobbits. And they mine diamonds for a living. And by the time they get back home, Snow is just moving around like crazy. And somehow she's still sleeping. Yeah, okay. And Dopey is the main focus out of the dwarves in this film, changing his personality into a little shy boy. Oh, I'm so shy, I'm a pick
kicked me. Are you deaf? Nah, you just can't talk, can you?
Then the dwarves initially try to take her down, but finding out she's the Princess Snow White, they let her stay.
Meanwhile, the queen finds out the huntsmen are fraud, then sends his ass to prison, then orders some troops to go find her.
And I don't think any kid that watched this film watched Gal Gadot and said, yeah, she's really evil. Cause when I watched it, I thought she was just trying to be funny. Now, Snow teaches Dopey how to whistle.
Then make the dwarves her slaves and nags them to clean.
Yeah, it's her house now. And when the dwarves go to work, Snow touches some grass and meets Jonathan the hobo again. Man, how you Snow White and a homeless dude has more fairer skin than you? But despite not being a prince, Jonathan does a great job playing the character of a homeless bandit and performs the song Princess Problems pretty well. Now, I don't recommend y'all watch the movie, but if you want to check out the songs, you should definitely go for it because the songs are pretty good. Then we meet Jonathan's crew who nobody asked for, but the troops find Snow and in the process she gets the K-drama moment as the hobo takes an arrow for her. Then the injured hobo goes to Doc, who's one of the dwarves, to treat him and he's all like, he dead.
Psych, just kidding.
And when she finds out his potato stealing ass took an arrow for her,
they start to do the PDA while everyone watches.
Hi.
And hearing soldiers, Jonathan tells Snow to stay behind, then loses aura by getting captured and becomes a prisoner next to the huntsman. Then the queen's like, I'm so jealous of Snow White, I'm gonna turn into an elderly woman to deceive her. And in the original, when the queen changes, she actually looks terrifying. Like in the scene when Snow White sees her, it deadass looks like a jump scare. But in the live action, she's just chopped.
We call this the expired huzz.
So she plans to put Snow into sleeping death with a poison apple, with the only cure being true love's kiss. And when the dwarves are off to work, the saggy huzz pull up.
Hola, soy Dora.
Did I frighten you?
No, you just hella wrinkly.
Then the animals swarm to the dwarves for help, but yo, that's a reindeer. Instead of going to the dwarves, why can't one reindeer just stomp the elder huzz? Like people be saying 100 men versus one gorilla, but I'm saying what about one reindeer versus the huzz? Reindeer gonna win.
So as the animals waste time trying to convince Snow White in danger,
the queen manipulates her, saying Snow White's father was so generous she just wants to give back.
I know you were born with a silver spoon, but can you try my peasant apple? Okay. Something wrong.
Well.
Holy shit, I killed your dad with poo. No, you bitch.
Snow White then falls into sleeping death after being told by the queen she killed her father.
And by the time the dwarves arrive, they too late.
And the fairest of them all is now the queen again, although if we're being honest, it was never really close. Then Jonathan escapes prison and dashes to see Snow White
cause he horny.
But by giving a kiss, Snow White wakes up and the dwarves' reaction is hilarious. Like, why are they acting so zesty? I wouldn't be surprised if Bashful and Happy were gay in this film because they're like,
let's all just try to be friends.
Gay.
Anyway, Snow White does a little makeout sesh because they both
horny.
Then she declares she gonna square up with the queen.
Let her try.
So Dopey learns how to speak and he goes,
I like feet. Follow me.
And Snow White pulls up to the kingdom to get her girl boss moment.
Then the town recognize her and go walk with her and sing the Kumbaya.
And when the queen shows up, she's like,
oh, you wanna get rid of me? Then do it. Do it right here, right now.
Yeah, I thought so, ho.
Kill her.
And guess what Snow White does? She copies South Park's Member Berries. And like Member Berries, she goes,
You were a farmer.
Remember when you used to be a farmer? Remember when life was better back then? Remember when you weren't poor and had a home? Remember? You remember?
I remember.
I remember.
And using the emotional manipulation, she gets everyone against the queen.
Leave and never come back. Girl, I will kill you.
I am a midget. And as the town celebrates, the queen flees to ask the mirror who's the fairest again, and it tells her it's Snow White because beauty comes from within. Beauty comes from within? If that's true, then how did the evil queen, who is evil, meaning she's ugly inside, even get the title of the fairest in the first place then? That shit don't even make any sense. If true beauty always came from within, the evil queen would have never been the fairest, ever. So how you gonna change the rules last minute?
Hiya.
So she crashes out, and by breaking the glass mirror, she becomes glass herself.
And that's how the queen dies, to the law. And Snow is declared as the new queen as the movie ends with everyone happy and dancing.
Now, watching this film, you know who the real princess in the film is? It's Jonathan, because he goes from homeless to future king because he's with Snow White. She changed this broke boy's life forever and gave him a Cinderella story. And with the recent news that the Disney Tangled live action film will indefinitely be delayed, you just knew she was going to be black. And Disney was like, actually, maybe that's not a good idea. I think this film is a perfect example that change doesn't always mean better. So you change the personality and character of Snow White completely, where she doesn't think like Snow White, doesn't talk or act like Snow White, and she doesn't even look like Snow White. So how the hell is she Snow White? If you want to make a live action, make the story and characters consistent of why we enjoyed and loved the original movie, rather than changing it completely and thinking change always means better. And if you want to make a sassy, passive-aggressive, death-staring girl boss main character, then make an original original Disney princess film and let her have those qualities rather than changing the characters we liked and grew up with. It really is unfortunate because the songs in this film are pretty damn good and low-key feel like they're wasted now because Disney couldn't remain faithful to the original script. But yeah, if you watch this film, feel free to share your thoughts and comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. It's been your boy KC, and yeah, till next time.